People who have rage quit a job on the spot. What happened? It was a Friday afternoon, about 3 p.m. The office was dead quiet, the kind of quiet where you could hear the hum of the fluorescent lights above. I had been working at that call center for almost 2 years, and I'd reached the point where I was sick of it. The constant customer complaints, the micromanaging, the meaningless scripts, and the endless hours of sitting in front of a screen, answering phone calls that never stopped. It had been a bad week. The boss was in a mood, nitpicking every little thing we did. The pressure had been mounting, and I was starting to feel suffocated. That morning, she had called me into her office to discuss my performance. She handed me a list of minor things I had done wrong, none of which were even my fault. The blame for everything seemed to fall on me, no matter how much I tried to fix things or improve. It was always my fault. It was always my responsibility. By 3 p.m., I had already hit my breaking point. I had been on the phone with a customer who was yelling about a late delivery for over 45 minutes, despite the fact that I had nothing to do with the shipment or the delay. She wasn't listening to me, just screaming at me as if I had personally caused her problem. I calmly apologized and offered solutions, but she wasn't having any of it. She kept escalating her demands, and I could feel my patience thinning. Then, my supervisor, Karen, walked over. She'd been shadowing the team that day, pretending to help, but only offering criticism. She stood behind me as I was still on the phone, breathing down my neck. "You're handling this wrong," she said, loud enough for the customer to hear. My face flushed red. I had been dealing with a hostile situation for the past 45 minutes, and now, the last thing I needed was her adding fuel to the fire. I politely told the customer I'd be transferring her to someone else, and without even waiting for her response, I hit the transfer button. I turned to Karen. "What do you want?" She started to lecture me about how I wasn't managing the situation well, how I needed to be more assertive, more professional. But the thing was, I had already dealt with worse customers. I had already gone above and beyond, and she was making me feel like I was incompetent. I snapped. I stood up from my desk and turned to her. "You know what? I'm done," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. "This place is a joke. You're a joke. You've been breathing down my neck for months, and I can't do this anymore. I can't pretend I care about these customers or this job. You don't appreciate anyone here, and this toxic environment isn't worth my time." Karen's eyes went wide. She opened her mouth to say something, but I didn't give her the chance. I grabbed my things, shoved them into my bag, and walked out the door without saying another word to anyone. I didn't even know where I was going at first. I just knew I couldn't stay there another second. I walked to the nearest cafe, sat down, and took a deep breath. For the first time in months, I felt a sense of relief, like the weight of the world had been lifted off my shoulders. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just free. That evening, I sent a resignation email from my phone. No explanation, no notice. Just a simple line. "I am resigning, effective immediately." The next morning, I woke up and realized what I had done. I hadn't planned to quit like that. I hadn't expected to walk out in a fit of anger, but I did, and in a weird way, I didn't regret it. The job wasn't worth the mental toll it was taking on me. I'd stayed longer than I should have, hoping things would improve, but it never did. A few weeks later, I found a new job in a completely different field, one that made me feel valued and respected. I never went back to that call center. Every time I thought about the day I walked out, I smiled. Sometimes you just need to trust your gut and leave when the situation gets toxic. That day, I didn't hold back. I quit, and I never looked back.